with such a lengthy project, one with so many different steps, it occurred to me that a quick review might be worth doing.
As with any project, it starts with the preparation of the material. Cutting staves here, getting ready to build the cylinders for the center portion of the cryptex. And I've also done a cylinder for my spacer rings. I've hollowed it out to 2.5 inches and trued up the outside to a consistent wall thickness. As an option, instead of staves, a solid piece can be used, but make sure it's bone dry. To help ensure stability and durability, I've applied CA glue to those center tubes. Here, I'm preparing those spacer rings, getting an ID that fits the OD of the center tube. The separator rings need to be harvested, and they need to have a flat side on one end so they can be mounted and perfectly dimensioned, sanded with corners rounded. Wood needs to be beveled in order to create short staved locking rings. Veneers need to be prepared, and the locking ring height needs to be calculated. Gang cutting little short staves helps speed the process. These staves can be arranged now to form whatever kind of combination puzzle pattern that you want. Then a flat side on each one of these, mounted on trays with double-sided tape. The sides of the locking rings need to be dimensioned for that inner sleeve, and then the outsides need to be turned to a consistent diameter. The corners need a radius. The veneers need a little slot, and those slots need to be cleaned up. The corners and surfaces all need to be sanded. Sanding sealer, at least 2 coats applied and buffed in between. The inner container needs to be constructed. Conventional stacked ring construction. How many rings do you need? And then these rings can be flattened on one side. They can go to the lathe and be dimensioned inside for gang gluing and split. Again, the smooth side goes on a tray through the drum sander, consistent thicknesses, gang glued together, a little turning on the outside, and then the inside cored out with a Forstner bit. The inside sanded, threads prepared for the end cap. The end cap for the container needs to be prepared. Threads need to be installed in the end cap using ABS cement. The end cap needs a floating panel installed. The center tubes need a slot cut. And then those locking rings need to be precisely dimensioned and installed on that inner tube. The ends cut off and sanded. The location of the pins determined and holes drilled. Little pins glued in place. The top and the base units need to be designed and constructed. Standard stacked ring construction. The underside of the dome lid needs to be sized to fit the container top. The container needs to be plugged at one end, and a dome floating panel needs to be installed. A locator pin needs to be installed in the dome lid, and then the container needs to be glued to that lid. The base needs to be turned and dimensioned in order to accept the inner tube. A floating disc and keeper ring for the underside of the whole unit, and another indicator dot of ebony there. Some finish and a final glue job into the base, and here we are. But no project's complete until the shop's been cleaned up. I'm fortunate that I've got this special helper that came by. Abbott loves those tractors, and he's quite the little helper in the shop. Come on, Abbott, let's hurry up. Maybe we'll go skiing.